Welcome everybody, nice to see you all again. For those of you who saw me yesterday, my name is Eric, I'm one of the trainers here. I'm joined here by Dan and Lance. Now, yesterday, if you tuned into Facebook Live, you saw Kristen training me on how to do a few things. Well, we graduated a little bit and now I'm trained to do some interviews. So, I'm joined here by two of our longest tenured employees at the aquarium, and we're really in a perfect spot to do it. Right behind me, we have Penguin Coast, our $3.5 million expansion that we finished just a couple years ago. And you guys also might have seen the new Penguin Chick announcement. So, we're really in a perfect place to point out all the incredible changes that the Aquarium of Niagara has gone through a little bit. Now, before we get started, I want to give these two gentlemen the chance to introduce ourselves. So, Lance, why don't you go ahead and say your name, your title, and how many years you've been here at the aquarium?
Okay, well, I'm Lance. I'm an aquarist here, and been here 26 years.
Wow, 26 years. And Dan, how about you?
I'm actually Dan here. I'm the supervisor of aquatic systems, so that's all the life support. Started off as an aquarist back in '94, so I've been here 25 years.
94, 26 and 25 years. That's pretty impressive. So, since we have these guys here, we thought this was a great opportunity to kind of do a couple blasts from the past, learn a little bit about where the aquarium's been to better understand where we're going, of course. So, of course, everybody likes to learn a little more about us. So, Lance, what's your favorite animal that you've worked with here at the aquarium?
Well, my favorite would be when I was a volunteer here. That was back in '79. And it was Buster the freshwater dolphin.
Buster the freshwater dolphin. How about you, Dan?
And this may surprise some of the people that know me, but I really enjoyed working with the river otters and North American river otters we had way back when. I'm a fish guy at heart, but those two otters were really fun to work with.
It's kind of hard not to connect with otters. Yeah, they're pretty adorable. Well, actually, those are perfect segues because we're going to talk about both of those animals. So, Lance, we'll talk about Buster, our Amazon river dolphin, and I actually have a connection to that as well. Back in 2017, I was lucky enough for the aquarium to send me down to Brazil to learn a little more about Amazonian river dolphins. Super cool animals. They're pink, if you don't know that. So, if you like the color pink, they're the dolphin for you, and they're completely freshwater as well. So, Lance, tell us a little bit about your time working with Buster.
Well, as I said, I was a volunteer, and I was lucky enough to be able to get his food together. I got to feed him. I got to play games with him. I swam with him. So it was all the things to get him enrichment back then. Like swimming, he had little toys and stuff that would throw in for him. And he just loved the interaction with people. All people, he just loved just to have interaction with them. I have a picture of him looking back every time he'd walk back behind his exhibit. He'd come up, put his head up on the back of it, and you could see his head poking out, looking, trying to see who was back there. As you know, they have very poor eyesight, but he just tried to see who was hoping that somebody's going to come and interact. So that was my basic job back then, was for the Marine Animal Care Department, because back then I was a dolphin fanatic, bottlenose dolphins especially, but once I started working with Buster, he usually became my favorite.
That's exciting, and then that's a great point too. You know, we think about dolphins, we think about saltwater, but these guys are river dolphins, and one connection that we have here, obviously there's no dolphins in the Niagara River. If you find one, please call somebody, something's gone horribly wrong. But it is a reminder that there are some pretty powerful river systems out there in the world, and the Amazon River, and the Soledado, and the Rio Negro, where you find these dolphins, are just as impressive as our river right in our backyard. So, having Buster back in those days was certainly able to bring places like the Amazon here to Niagara Falls. Now, Dan, you also mentioned the otters. So what did you enjoy working with the otters?
A lot of it was just basic general husbandry. So in the mornings we would feed them, pick up their food. They got a meat caddy, get some carrots and fish, and then we clean their exhibits, just general things that we typically do with any animal in a zoo or aquarium. And then we would do some enrichment. We make them some nice toys, things like that, whatever their imagination could come up with.
What do you think the biggest change is from working with them to working, moving on to the sort of fish side of things, and then obviously going into your life support role here?
Biggest change is just adapting to what you're working with. I had a fish background coming in here already, so that was just on top of the regular duties of fish. So we had otters and penguins we also work with. So we've had, both Lance and I have had a broad range of animals we've worked with. We had gators temporarily, we got the reptiles with turtles. So we have a broad range of experiences.
Yeah, that's great. Now, Lance, you brought up how much you enjoyed the dolphins. Now, here at the aquarium now, obviously we don't have dolphins anymore. We do our sea lion show, which the audience has been able to see a few times. But describe what it was like being around those dolphins and sort of how it was bringing those to the visitors to the aquarium.
Well, those dolphins are just amazing. They're intelligent. They like to interact with people also. They were variable personalities. Sonny was a dolphin here who was not as friendly as the other dolphins, but he still liked to interact. Okay. I just enjoyed them. I think what drew me to the dolphins was just the fact, just their intelligence, the aquatic side of it. Because I've always I'm a fish person. Had 20 tanks at home and all that sort of thing. So I was just drawn to aquatic animals in general. But dolphins, when I was a little kid, were the thing that really got me interested in this aquarium because they're just so fun to be around. It was like seeing a rock star. It sounds crazy, but it was. It's the way I kind of felt about them, and just to be near them. It's their intelligence and just their interactions with each other and with people that drew me to them. And just watching them. I could watch them all day. I used to come here on Sundays when I was a kid. I got my first membership in 1973. I used to come here on the weekends. My mother or my grandfather would drive me here and drop me off. And I would just sit out in front of the tanks and I would just watch them. And I would stay all day and then go home at the end of the day to come back.
That's great.
That's what I used to do back then. So you can say I really loved them from the start. I'm old enough to remember the old flipper show with the dolphin. And I was here in 1965 when the aquarium opened, so yes, I'm old. But I was here in 1965 as a child. My mother brought me that summer to come see the dolphins because as far back as when I was 5 years old, I loved dolphins.
That's super great. Now, do you remember your first memory of the aquarium? Or the first time you would have come?
Yeah, actually, I was 10 years old, and I saw Buster. My father brought me up for my birthday up here.
Well, that's so exciting.
First memory was actually seeing Buster.
It's got to be so cool that you guys both were able to come here as kids and now not only work here, but have really established such a foothold and earned the respect of being the longest tenured employees that we have here at the aquarium. So that's definitely exciting. Now, Lance, you talked a little bit about the dolphin show, but there's actually another show that they used to do here at the aquarium, something that might have been a little different. What was the electric eel like?
Well, the electric eel demonstration, it was actually part of the training department. Okay, the trainers did the electric eel demonstrations, which is why I was able to do some of the electric eel demonstrations also. And after the dolphin shows, they would do an electric eel demonstration. So we would have an electronic readout, and we would go up and we would have food that we would move around the exhibit. It's like the eel would come around, and he would hit the food, and then it would light up a display of how many volts the eel put out. And it just kind of was something just to show people, talk to people about just the diversity of fish, and just how amazing it is that there are fish species that can use electricity for defense, communication, and navigation.
That's wonderful. Now, that was an incredible exhibit that we were able to put together. We still have electric eels on exhibit. So Dan, to kind of go off of that, now that you're the supervisor of aquatic systems, what would you say, which exhibit here kind of requires the most of your time, or at least the most in-depth work that you think you have to do? Or have had to do, I should say.
I would say, for now that I've moved into life support, so I'm not just fish and birds now, I'm everything. The mammals, the penguins behind here. They're a little bit more elaborate, so they have more modern equipment on them, so we're using ozone, protein skimmers, and sand filters, so it takes a little bit more time. I would say the penguin, equally Penguin Coast and the outdoor pool are probably my most challenging because they utilize ozone, and that takes a little bit more skill, and you've got to closely monitor that so it's working properly.
Well, absolutely, and you guys have worked with so much here. You've obviously had your hands in or on a lot of the exhibits that you have, a lot of the different animals, but you had to get there, right? You had to work your way up. So, do you guys remember starting at the aquarium?
I do. I remember starting back in November '93, coming in, and I was a volunteer first, and then there was an opening, and I was asked if I would be interested in applying for it. I do want to mention that's a great way to get into this field. There's volunteer facilities, get the experience. At the very least, even if you get hired at that facility, you're getting working experience to go somewhere else, and that's very important in this field, is to get the working experience. And that's basically what a lot of us have done here, is we come as volunteers or interns. and we get our experience, and you get known by the staff members. They'll know whether or not you get along with everybody, which is important. In the husbandry field especially, because we have to interact a lot in a lot of areas, marine mammals, and our department as well, fish and invertebrates. So you get to know whether the interactions are going to fit in, and just how well you can do the job, which is important. Do you have the affinity to work with animals? It's not only book smarts in our field. A lot of it is just having an affinity for working with animals, and that's very important hands-on to be able to do that. A lot of very intelligent people that just don't have the knack to work with the animals. And to take care of animals and be comfortable and have the animals be comfortable with you, it's important to be able to interact with them. That's what the volunteer and intern program does for facilities, especially ours, is it allows us to see, are you going to fit in, are you doing things?
Well, that's great. Dan, do you remember what it was like starting here?
Yeah, I started as a volunteer in '94, so the volunteer program is a little different. Back then, we would do both marine mammal care and what they called exhibits, which is fish and invertebrates. So I would go, it was week to week, so 1 week I'd do marine mammal care, and then the next week would be fish and inverts. So that's how I started. A year later, the position opened up, and here I am.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys both used the term apply, because it applies to the surprise that we have for you. Our wonderful executive director reached into the annals of the aquarium and found your original job application for when you first came out. So I'm going to start with Dan. Do you remember where you lived when you applied here to the aquarium?
On Chestnut Ridge Road in Amherst.
Well, there you go. He still remembers, right? All right, let's see. How about Lance? Do you remember when you officially applied to be in the department, not just volunteer?
It had to be near November '93.
Spot on, 11/19/93. Well, as you could say, you guys have done a wonderful job. You've worked here. I remember when I first started here, it was just over 4 years ago, back in March, so hopefully I'll still be around as long as you guys have. Thank you guys so much for telling us about the history of the aquarium. I know the aquarium is incredibly lucky to have you guys still coming in, working hard every day. Do we have any questions from the Facebook world out there? All right, well, that's always a good sign. Meaning you guys answered everything that we could possibly want to know, just like you answer all the questions for all of the younger and newer staff here. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Facebook, thank you guys for joining us, and we hope to see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.
Hey, Eric, before we go, let's pass out those applications to Lance and Dan and see what they think of some of the materials included there.
Oh, wrong one. There we
I don't
go.
want Lance's. It's typed up. Wow. Look at that.
So one surprising fact on the front page was that it was appropriate at the time to ask for specific characteristics of the applicant. Eric, do you want to talk about
Yeah, so on these guys, we have their height and weight listed. Now, we're not going to make you guys, think about how that might have changed over the years, but safe to say that on my application, we didn't necessarily have to do that part. The only size we were concerned about was our wetsuit size.
Well, the salary was nice.
I hope it's gone up since then, for sure. I think you guys have earned a couple raises along the way.
It's very interesting.
Bring back some fond memories.
Just looking at the references. Forgot about him. I used to work with at Kmart.
From Kmart to the Aquarium of
Yeah,
Niagara.
I worked both jobs. I worked 2 jobs for the first 10, 15 years I was here. Just to make ends meet.
Well, very cool, guys. Again, thank you for
I don't have to do
spending.
that anymore, thankfully.
I think you work enough jobs here to keep yourself occupied. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, again, thank you guys so much. We're glad we got to surprise you a little bit. Once again, guys, before we sign off, make sure you use the hashtag #IMissMyAquarium when you're sharing different posts about us. Connect with our Facebook page, connect with our website. These guys have done an incredible job keeping us up and running over the years, and they'll keep doing a great job during this quarantine time. So thank you guys so much, and have a great day.